Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cynthia Linox Show. I am your host, Cynthia Linox, your unapologetic deconstruction coach, here to remind you that this is your season. This is your season of self discovery. This is your season to deconstruct from everything that no longer serves you. You have to recognize your season and begin to act accordingly. This is your season to shine. This is your season to flourish. This is your season to prosper. This is your season to set boundaries. This is your season to define what life means to you. This is your season to define things like fun. What does fun means to you? Because to some people, fun may be, partying and going out and all of that. Fun for you may be to sit with a book and enjoy that. It may be to sit with yourself. It may be to spend time with friends or with your grandkids or with your friends or family. You define what it means to you and you start living accordingly. This is your season, but everything that you do, remember, it must be purposeful, it must be intentional for it to make sense, for it to really, where you can get the gusto out of it. This is your season to break from tradition, conventional norms, racial biases, political ideologies, religious doctrine. This is your season to break away the status quo from the status quo, break away from fears and worry and fret and just anxiety and depression. This is your season to start all over again. And guess what? The thing about it is that you can do that at any time. Don't ever come to a place where you think, oh, I messed up. Oh, I messed up. And no, 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 no. You may be going in one course, but you can do a 360. You could turn around. You could do whatever it is. You set the definitions because the whole idea is living life on your own terms, coming into a place of authenticity where you can live your life organically and not live a life of pretense. Sometimes we pretend to be what we really are not, or we live a life of performance, trying to perform for others to like us or to get approval, affirmation from other people, permission for them to like us. And there's no need for that. That's why it's so important that you come to a place where you know who you are. When you know who you are, then it doesn't matter who likes you or who doesn't, because when you know who you are, then it's also important that you love the person you are. And don't say things like, oh, well, I'm not perfect and I love myself with all my flaws. Don't think about your flaws or imperfections because that is just life, and we all have situations and things that some are not becoming, but the things that you like about yourself, maximize those things. Maximize on the things that you like about yourself, and the things that you would like to improve, then you work on that. Work on those things, whatever it is that you may want to brush up on this or change this, change that, reinvent yourself. Give yourself permission to recreate yourself, rebrand yourself. If some people know you as, someone who's always angry, or someone who is always uh lend themselves to, a yes person, yes to this, yes to that, someone with no boundaries. If you want to change that, then you go ahead and change it and you start practicing that. When somebody asks you to do something, if you don't want to do it, then just say no. But you're the one that's going to start. And the whole thing about this setting yourself up to live life on your own terms is that you will also determine, you will decide what it is that you want out of life, and be unapologetic, because you know what? You're not going to please everyone. But this whole idea about living life on your own terms is not to please other people. It's to live a life that's going to bring you fulfillment, a life of meaning, And if you, if you have a partner or a family, whatever, then they will have to adapt to your new self. The thing is, you have to come to a place where you discover who you are, and at the same time, allow those around you, perhaps to even follow the same path. Well, not your path, but their own path, to discover who they are. Because unless you come to a place in life at any age, adulthood, unless you come to a place where you go back to discover who you are, then more than likely um, you have adopted an identity that's not really you. Because from small, we are shaped, we are molded, by our teachers or parents, leaders, religious leaders, and people around us. You're molded into being someone that you may not be. Oh, be nice. Well, nice is not. That's a construct. You don't have to be nice. You want to be kind because you want people to be kind to you as well. So that's the whole thing. But then people force you into ways and behaviors and attitude and thought processes that are really not uh, that really does not promote a life of autonomy where you can be yourself and take responsibility for yourself. Most people don't know their power, so they depend on external sources to to give them information, to bless them. They rely on other sources, and so they live a life either waiting or depending or uh, codependent on others, and um, uh, expectations of others. And in the meantime, you're frustrated, you're sad, you're depressed, you're anxious. Why? Because you're dependent on other people. But when you take responsibility for yourself, that's a whole new ball game. And sometimes you may do or say things that are totally out of the norm, out of tradition, and you may even question yourself. This week, Gladys shared a situation with herself. Gladys, divorced 2 years, and grown kids. So she is not only empty nest. Well, she's by herself, not single but divorced. And she met this guy. She met Phil. She's living a life by herself, and she met Phil. Now, Gladys is 62 years old, born in 1962, and Phil was born in 1989, I think, something like that. That's the way it was referenced. So he's 36 years old. Now, she met Phil, and she likes Phil. He likes her. He's an established younger man. She's established. She has her own house. He has his own house. Good job, responsible, and she doesn't depend on anyone for anything. And he has his own weight that he carries. And so her dilemma is, she's wondering, this guy, he really likes me, and I'm not sure what to do because there's such a difference. I think it's like 25 years difference in age and so forth. And now these stories are a little unusual. When I share these stories, um, I am not putting my stamp on any of them. I'm just telling you the facts or the truth as shared, the truth as they shared it. So I am not endorsing, I am not agreeing, I'm not putting my stamp because it's not a matter of good or bad, right or wrong, true or false. It is a situation that Gladys is going through and a decision that she's going to make for her life. And but what I do applaud is when somebody dares to come out of the box, when somebody make an effort to come out of the box, out of the norm, out of the box, just get rid of the box and start doing things as they see fit. So anyway, so the dilemma is, should she date this guy that's 25 years younger than her? Now, who is to say? Who is the one that's gonna? And there were so many opinions because it's this group of all mature women, mature ladies, and everybody has an opinion to give and so forth. And she wants to know what's the popular opinion. Now, in my estimation, I am like, look, this is the 21st century. And at 62 years old, you don't need affirmation. You don't need consent. You don't need validation. You don't need permission from anyone to do what you want to do. As long as there's an understanding that you're not about to raise kids, number one, that is not in your, orbit, and marriage, you have to determine what that means to you, because as far as I'm concerned, whenever you partner with someone, you make the decision whether you want to walk down the aisle or you just want to partner with someone. There is no judgment on that. As you know, this is a judgment free zone. This show, we don't judge people, we embrace uniqueness. And when people make decisions that suits them, when you make decisions that suits your life, that is what I applaud. So anyway, I said, as long as there's a clear understanding that you're not about to raise kids, or perhaps you're not interested in marriage, as long as you clear that, this is the moment to live your life. And what she's looking for, according to what you said, she wants to be able to travel. She does travel now by herself, or in groups and so forth. And she wants to, she wants to have someone to, to sit and watch a movie, or to go out to the movies, to go out to dinner. Gladys is looking for companionship, and I think it's so beautiful because when you find someone that's your person, regardless, it's just a beautiful thing to share your life with someone else. I know from personal experience because, I share my life with my sweetheart, and it's been over 3 decades that we have been together, and we do so many things to keep it fresh and new, and just rejuvenated every time in the things that we do, the choices that we make, and even in this process of self discovery. I am evolving, and he's also evolving at a different pace, and I share a lot because mine is happening like that. But anyway, the point is, we all go through this, or we all should go through this whole season of self-discovery, which never comes to an end. It just keeps going and going and going. And the more we become relevant, the more we remain open-minded and curious about life, you're going to be learning new things. Now, with all said, I should advise, you have to keep an open mind, and uh, exercise critical thinking to make sure that you are set up in a way where you're safe and so forth, all of that. This person is old enough, they need to take care of all of that. But emotional intelligence is something that you have to exercise, because I know one of the ladies said something like, oh, as soon as he meets somebody young, he's going to dump you and so forth. But you know what, in life you got to take a chance. You have got to take a chance and not really set up expectations on someone else. Because the moment we do that, the moment you try to establish expectations from someone else, you're setting yourself up for to be hurt, to be disappointed. And that happens a lot. We go into relationships, or we go into a marriage, and we have all these expectations for the other person to meet our needs. I used to be that way. What before I got wiser. We were all that way. We go into a marriage with expectations. But the moment that I learned that my life depends on me to make whatever change I need or whatever change I am looking for, it depends on me. And the moment I start exercising my right, my freedom, my power to change me, my thought, my mind, my expectations, feelings, emotions, desires, the moment I realized that it was up to me, I just start thriving. I just start thriving. Why? Because I'm not putting the burden on someone else. I'm not looking for my husband to meet personal needs. We come together, and of course, there are certain communal uh, uh, expectations that we have of each other. In the household, you do this, I do this, and we come together and we make it a nice, pleasant oasis where we can, you know, live cohesively, but not just exist, but really live. Because again, you determine the type of life that you want, whether it's something fun and happy and adventurous and spontaneous. You determine the type of life that you want. But the thing is, don't set yourself up to be disappointed, and that happens when we set our expectations, to depend on someone else to meet those needs. You don't want to do that, because it is like uh, it is like outsourcing your power, your ability to make changes for your life. I take that so seriously. I take that so seriously that I don't like someone when someone tells me, God bless you. I don't necessarily like that. That doesn't work for me. And I know it's a little different because everybody says that. Dios te bendiga, Dios te bendiga. I don't know. I don't know. Why? Because I'm not blessed. I'm capable. I don't want blessings from outside because you become dependent. Now, if that is your belief, then that's fine. But when somebody says, God bless you, if I don't say thank you, that's because I don't believe in that and I don't receive that. I don't want God to bless me, because the things that I want, wish, desire, the things that comes into my life has been the things have been because of my ability. We are all capable, but not everyone subscribe to that truth that you are capable. You are capable to establish your life the way you want to. And I know it may be far fetched from you, but once you come into that knowledge, once you come to understand that you determine your course, of course things happen. Even from a from a religious point of view, Christian religion, your Bible tells you if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move, and it shall move. For those of you that are of a religious thread, I am not, but I know that it's in there. The point is, once you reach the point where you believe that you can do the things that you desire, that you are capable, that you are able, that you have the ability, that you can, your mind is able to do that. Once you come to that understanding and you start focusing on programming your mind to be able to think the thoughts that you desire for the things you want, and once you see them happening, your life will become a whole different ball game, totally different. But you have to come to that understanding. You have to know, not believe, because believe is when you're not sure, when you don't know, when you're not sure, when you doubt. This is not about belief. This is about knowing. And I know that because, as I have shared before, from a religious doctrine standpoint, I walked away from all religion in 2009. So this year makes 16 years that we've been away from all religious doctrine. No thread of religion or religious doctrine follows me, in me, none at all. Don't worry, we're going to get back to Gladys, but Gladys and Phil. The thing is, we are in our 16th year of having left. And the reason I say that you can set up, determine the life that you want and start living life on your own terms is because that's what we've been doing for 16 years. We have not said one prayer in 16 years, have not called on the name of any God at all, have not considered ourselves blessed. Yes, we are fortunate. We go by our intuition, we make decisions, and we think the best. We always think that things, as a matter of fact, my husband and I were talking the other day, and we were just kind of reminiscing things that, oh, and you remember when we got this and when we got this and when this happened. And it was so much fun because we were just about to turn in and go to bed. And I think I was making, I don't know, setting up the coffee, which I did the night before, and we were just talking about some things and things in life that has come our way because of the way we think, the way we move, the way we align ourselves with life, with the things that we want, the way you program your mind. Because once you understand how your mind works, you will know that it's up to you, and no one can change that, no one can challenge that, no one can contest that. And but you see, the thing is this: most people, particularly those of a faith-based Christian faith, every time they get something happens to them, I guess because they pray, and if something good happens, they ascribe that thing to a God or to the God that they worship. So they absolve themselves from any kind of contribution, participation in that which has happened. When you get that job or that promotion, you went out and looked for that job. Yes, I know you're going to say, yeah, but if it wasn't for God to send me the right place and to give me favor and all that. Now, you see, if you believe that, then of course you will always be waiting. You will always be waiting and trusting and believing and wait and wait and wait and wait. And you and I know that that waiting period can be forever. I know it and you know it. So after we left, we did away with all this thing. Oh, you're so blessed. No, we are not blessed. We are uh, capable people. We're capable and we are practical, and we exercise our thinking ability, our ability to think, to process thoughts, and to analyze situation, and to embrace logic, So, to be blessed, as a matter of fact, if you look for the root of that word really is associated with darkness. When you say you're blessed, back in the days when the Europeans, they used to blessing used to be associated with blood, and they used to take the blood to to uh, sprinkle upon weapons and peoples and altars and things of that nature, and they would call it bless. Then after the Old English, they changed it, they switched it up and renamed it, redefined it as something that's good, as a blessing. The point is, when you say bless, it means external. It means that it's coming from someone else. When you say, "Oh, you're so blessed," that means someone has blessed me. No, it's not someone has blessed me. Now, when someone gives me something, the other day I was on the phone, and I had to arrange to make some situations, and I think our internet was uh, what do they call it? They had issues with the Wi-Fi in my community, and it was out like 3 times. So I lost a whole day from work. And so I called him the next day. I said, that's totally unacceptable. I said, because when I have to pay you, we don't pay you on time. We pay you before time. I said, you look at our record. So he looks up our record. First I got like the first level, and then she gave me some kind of a menial uh, compensation. And I said, no, that's that. I said, that is disrespectful. So I said, I know you have another tier. You need to kick me up to higher management. I said, but in the meantime, I think that you should really have the ability to do well. When you look at our record and you see that it's mint, you get paid every month, way before time, and in full. So I throw that in there so that they can. And she says, yeah, but the only thing that I can do is enter it into the system, and then the system kicks out the compensation. I said, but yes, you can override that. You can override that. Because if I lost an entire day, I said I was up till 12:30 waiting for it to come back on. And it didn't. Of course, I got up the next day this morning and it was on. So I said, if you can't do it, then I need upper management. I need your next tier. But I don't want to go tier 2, 3, 4. Give me the highest tier. So she brings Brett. Well, Brett comes on and he is, I guess, management of that division or whatever. And I explained to him, and he saw where there were technical problems in the community. And he saw, and I said, the first time it happened at about 1 o'clock, I said, that was, things happen. Sometimes it goes out, their technical problem once in a while, and I can understand that. I said, but then again, and then you sent me I have this text. I said, you sent me a text saying that it would be on at 4. No, I didn't check it at 4, but at 4:30, I got another text saying that it is still under repair. They're still doing something. It went out again. So I said the first time, okay, it goes out, a couple hours, whatever. The second time, I said, now it's an issue because you are now interrupting my day from 4:30, and then they said that it would be restored at 7:30. I said, well, you have really carved into my schedule, and there's a cost associated with that. So, and then I said, and then it came back at about 7:30. No, it came back like at 7. As a matter of fact, I don't know what time it came out, but the point is it went out again at 7:30. And it says technical problems, it's out. So I lost an entire day. So when I was talking to Brett, I said, now you can't, I said, there's a cost associated with my time. And no compensation is going to restore, or no compensation can really justify the time and resources that I have lost because of your technical issues. I said, if I don't pay you, you will cut my service off immediately. So if I don't get the service from you, then what are my recourse? So he offers me another compensation. And I said, Brett, I said, you know what? I said, that's really insulting. Remember, I'm doing the work. So I'm not saying that I'm blessed anything. I said, that's insulting. I said, I actually find it disrespectful for you to offer me that. I said, I think it's this, for me, losing an entire day, which I cannot recover. And I gave him a figure. I said, uh, this amount should be compensation. I said, this amount should be the compensation. I don't know how I came up with that figure, but I was just bold. I figured if he came back with something, then there's room to negotiate. And he looked. I said, I said, look at my record. Look at my record, and you'll see that we pay you every month, not on time, way before the due date. And he looks and he says, because I think our bill is due on the 15th, and we paid it last weekend, and and he said, yes, I see here that you pay way in advance. I said, so I'm a customer that you can trust. You can trust me. You can rely on me. You can take my money to the bank because you know that, I pay for the service that you give me. But if you don't if you don't reciprocate in the same way, then the relationship is unbalanced. So I said, I think this would be a fair, I said, it doesn't, uh, I don't recover my loss for that day, for yesterday, um, but I would be satisfied with that. And so he went on to say, well, okay, that's fine. I'm going to authorize this, but I need you to understand that this is not customary. I don't want you to have the expectation that every time we have an outage that we will do this. I said, and again, I had to set up some boundaries. I said, Brett, let me make this clear. You're not doing me a favor, and this is not a gift. This is just the right thing to do because I pay you and you promise to provide a service. And as I said, the first couple hours, that was okay. There's an outage in the area. And I can see that, lines may be down, whatever. The second time, I said it became an issue. Why? Because you have carved into the main portion of my day when I need my Wi Fi to work. And the third time, it becomes a crisis. The third time, it's not a crisis. Why? Because I now have to shut my computer off because I don't have Wi-Fi. I have to shut it down because I can't work. And I told him I sit up to 12:30, and it didn't. I went to bed, and when I woke up the next morning, of course, it was restored. But my point is this: I did the work. So the fact, and I did the work, and I set up the compensation, what was um, agreeable to me, what I would accept. You know, I took a chance, and I said, this is what I would accept, will accept, and so forth. And anyway, so I got what I wanted, but I did it. So no one can tell me, wow, you were blessed, and I got the right person, and God called it. No, 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 no. I did the work, and this wasn't my conversation with Brett was not rehearsed. It was just conversation again that happened organically, and in that conversation I had to exercise critical thinking because I had to remember, wait a minute, I'm a good customer. You can see that we pay our bills on time every month, in full, and that you can rely on us. That's critical thinking. And then I also had to come up with a figure that he could. And I said, I know that your system may kick out a number, but your management. That's why I asked her to, send me to a higher tier, and you can override the system. And again, he went on to explain, and I don't want you to think this is customary that we do this. I said, I really don't need to hear that because this, I don't. The only time you hear from me is a situation like this, and this doesn't happen all the time. Yesterday was just it happened 3 times. I lost the whole day. I cannot. This compensation cannot recover my loss. So anyway, I did the work. I did the thinking. And I don't, your whatever belief system, that doesn't apply to me. All I know is that I am capable. I have the ability to think, to reason, to be logical, to analyze things. And because I believe, and it's funny because my husband sat, he was having breakfast when I got up, and generally I don't do business before I have my coffee, but I when I got up, I had it on my mind, and it was fresh, and I knew it was the right time to do it. When everybody is, fresh and early morning and so forth, and you don't come on with an attitude, but you're firm and you're determined and you're confident. And they knew I meant business. And what's her name is Kiana or something, the first person that I got when she couldn't do anything. I said, and at this point, they ought to give you guys the ability to make decisions so that you don't have to be transferring me from one level to another and so forth. And I told her, I said, you need to practice, make decision. And it's funny because she said, oh, if they gave us the authority to do that, can you imagine all the people that would be giving the business away? I said, well, then they need to, they need to downgrade those employees. But people like yourself, because she was kind and patient and so forth, and it was just a good chemistry. And when I got Brett, I it was the same thing. The point is this: you are capable. You are capable of making things happen. Just like Gladys. I said, Gladys, you don't need consent from anyone. You may want other people's opinion, but you don't need consent. You don't need permission. You don't need affirmation. At 62 years old, you ought to be able to live life on your own terms. And if you have good chemistry with this guy of 36 years old, it is your decision, whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to date him, if you want to just have a partnership, short term, long term, whatever you decide, if that's what you want to do, then that's the decision that you make. But be confident in what you do. Of course, she is thinking, well, how do I take him around my friends? And what if I have younger friends and he's looking at my younger, a whole bunch of things. But she has to deal with that. The point is, she started to think outside of the box. She started to think outside of the box and to live a life. She's been single for a couple of years because she's been divorced 2 years. And I don't know her personal life, but the point is, this seems like a great possibility. And I know a situation with a friend of mine that was dating a younger guy. And as a matter of fact, one of the ladies in the group said something like, so what about when men date younger women? What about that? What about when men date younger? Anyway, the point is this: Gladys is about to turn her life upside down in a great way. She's about to just ditch all the traditional norms and concept and social construct and all the status quo or of how things are supposed to be and so forth, and just go and make her own decision to live a different life. You've got to take a chance. You've got to take a chance on life. Comes a point now, you have to level up. You could drag yourself through life thinking about healing and going through trials and tribulation and being tested and all that. Comes a point where you make a decision. Now is your time to level up, my friend. It is your time to level up and to make decisions that concern your life, because you are going to start to live life on your own terms. Be organic. Whatever comes out, just let it out. And don't be afraid of judgment. People are already judging you. That's what we do. We look at people, and like sometimes I look at, the other day I saw this person in the store, and young gal, and they're just so adorable. And she had like 5 different colors, strands in her hair. And I'm like, oh boy, and then she had tattoos all over. So I looked at her and I had an opinion. So what? I can find that person today if I wanted to. So I had an opinion. So what? I didn't share it with anyone, but so what? She was happy. She was completely happy. You've got to take a chance. Take a chance on life. There is Ryan. There's another Ryan, and I like these stories because this is what's happening in people's lives now. There are a whole bunch of different things that are happening, but people are looking to share their lives with find a partner, and that's just the flavor of what was happening this week in my circle. There's Ryan and Rhea. Ryan and Rhea met on Tinder. Is it Tinder or Tender? One of those dating apps and so forth. They met on Tinder. I think it's Tinder. And they were communicating for about a month. They were communicating for, and these, I think they may be millennials. I think they're millennials. Yeah, they're millennials. So they're younger. And it's not someone that I know personally, but I know their story because they shared their story. And so they met on Tinder, and they decided by the time they decided to meet, Ryan had decided in his mind that she was it. She was the person that checked all the boxes. He liked her. They had good vibe, good energy over the phone, and they just, they were able to disagree on things and really sort things out, and really have good, stimulating conversations. So both of them like each other. And this story, is 6 years ago, but they just shared it now because they decided to meet. And Ryan, now, generally, as I hear it, on the first date, people are not spending a lot of money. People are not spending a lot of money like on your first date. People are meeting at places like La Madeleine or Panera Bread or Corner Bakery or something like that, so that it's they're not spending a lot of money just in case. But Ryan knew so well in his heart of hearts, his intuition, he knew so well that Rhea was a person that he really liked. He made reservations at a restaurant that's white tablecloth. Any restaurant that has a white tablecloth, that's an upscale restaurant. It's high end. So he made reservations at this restaurant, white tablecloth, and of course, Rhea shows up. She's impressed, but she's happy. She's just happy to meet with him. They met, and they just hit it off. They had such a great evening. They had such a great dinner, spending time together. Then they had dessert so much. So that very same night, they hooked up. And for those of you that are not familiar with the term hooked up, you could look it up. It's a slang. They hooked up the very same first date. They hooked up. You know, they hooked up that very same date. And they had such great chemistry that uh, a week later, Ryan asked Rhea to move in with him. By then, he had his own house, and he asked her to move in with him. A week later, which is 2 weeks from the first date, she moved in with Ryan. 6 months later, they got married. Today, they have 2 kids and 6 years married. And the thing is, Ryan is white, Rhea is black. They have such a dynamic relationship. They have such a dynamic relationship. When they share their story, Ryan was just so excited. He was just excited to share because what he was saying to people is take a chance. Take a chance. He said, I knew it. He said, I knew in my heart that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. And then the reason they shared is because they were trying to get the opinions of others, because now that they look back, they think, oh gosh, this was really taking a chance, and that it seemed like it was something crazy that they did, but they actually did that. Imagine a first date. This guy probably spent a couple of $100 because it was a fancy restaurant. Probably spent a couple of $100 on the first date with somebody that he had never seen. Of course, he knew that she was black. And this is not a racial thing, but when I talk about deconstructing from racial biases, that exists. So, let's not pretend that exists. And I don't even know what the relationship is with her family or his family. they just seemed happy, and they wanted to know, like, they wanted to encourage other people to take a chance. Take a chance, you know. This is not for everyone, but they knew. Ryan said he knew, and she said she knew, and the way he treated her, he really, he she felt so special. And on that very night, the first date, they hooked up. On the first date, again, this is a no judgment zone show, so we don't you don't need to judge them. The point is, and they were saying, here we are 6 years later, we have two beautiful children, and the little girl was just so beautiful. The little girl is very fair, looks like the dad, has a dad's complexion, blue eyes, blonde hair, but her features is the mother's. Ria's features looks just like Ria, and they're so, they look so happy, and they just wanted to hear the opinion, because now they said, now that they look back, that was the craziest thing to do, and they, they, it's not something that they would tell everyone to do, but what they do recommend, or what they do share, is that you should take a chance. Take a chance on life. Things may seem different, but take a chance. Take a chance. I remember when, years ago, I used to talk to this person, and they were going through a bad situation in their marriage, and they knew they needed to leave because there was a lot of emotional abuse. And I said, look, I said, you're a professional. You are a professional. You make money. You are a professional. Why do you put up with this? I could not process. I could not reconcile. How is this person such a professional and wasting time with this person, her husband at the time? And she took a chance. She built enough nerve, enough chutzpah, guts to leave, and took a chance because she had never been on her own alone. Took a chance. Today her life is golden. Met someone else, and anyway, it's just beautiful story. Take a chance. Take a chance and know that it's you. You are the one that can make things happen. But you have to believe that. That's why this whole deconstruction, and for those of you that are going through religious deconstruction, you really have to come to a place where you know for yourself. You have to get out of the belief zone, because when you are in the belief zone, you're doubting. You doubt, you fear, because that whole belief zone is based on belief, and belief is not the truth. Belief is just something you think. It's somebody else's opinion. But once you get to know, and you know, these are the stages when somebody, for the people that I talk with that are going through this religious deconstruction. So this is how it goes. So someone that's religious, and you talk to them and say, "Oh, I'm not religious. I have a relationship with God. I have a relationship with God." And when you point certain things out, and they come to realize that, wow, they all the questions they have, and they come to realize that that's just rebranding. You're just changing the name from religion to a relationship, but you're still following the same exact doctrine. Nothing has changed. So it challenges their mind. And I said, well, you need to think it through. Has anything changed? When you say, I have a relationship with God, what does that mean? It's the same thing, just rebranding. And once they come to realize, wait a minute, you know what? No one can answer these questions. And how is it that so and so, and how is it that so and so, and one person said, uh how is it that Satan says to Jesus, if you bow down and worship me, I will give all the riches of the world? And so her question was, how can you give me what belongs to me? Because the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. So how can, and so she start thinking critically. How can the devil say, according to the, Bible, how can he offer Jesus the whole world when it already belongs to him? So they go from having a relationship with God to becoming spiritual. But at the spiritual level, nothing has changed. It's the same doctrine, the same belief system. You have just rebranded your, because today you know that Christianity has a whole different definition, reputation, stigma. When you say you're Christian, uh, people are like, oh, like at least me. When somebody says, well, if you have to tell somebody that you're a Christian, then to me that has no validity. Because if you go to Israel and those people that really live according to the law, they don't have to say anything. You see it. You see it in the way they live, the clothes they wear, their hair, the way they dress, the things they eat. You see it. They don't have to make an announcement, a PSA, public service announcement. You just know it. So anyway, so they go from uh, being religious to being in a relationship with God, and then they become spiritual. But it's the same thing. By now, they're getting an open mind. They're becoming open minded. So now they're open-minded to really hear, and they start thinking critically, and at the same time, measuring their belief system against the truth, what's logical. And with that, deconstruction ensues, because that's where, when you start searching, when the student is ready, the teacher shows up. Don't listen to anyone. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to anyone that tries to tell you something, what you should do, what you should believe. No, it will come to you. And when it comes to you, it becomes yours. Then you'll be able to navigate and share and live with the confidence and the with the assertiveness that you need in order. It took me a while, once I left, but once I got it, it was mine. It was mine, and I own it. And I not only embrace the things that I know today, but I embody the things that I know. I embody it. Why? Because it works for me. And when you embody the things, once you do your research and you come to learn certain things and to find out certain things, once you embody it, it becomes yours. And it becomes a point where no one will be able to challenge it. No one will be able to challenge it. Why? Because it's yours. It becomes your truth. You will know the truth, and that truth will set you free. Take a chance, my friend. Take a chance on yourself. Bet on yourself, because you know what? The universe bets on you. The universe bets on you that you will come to that place where you are defying the status quo, traditional norms, conventional practices, and deconstructing from everything, from all the things that no longer serve you. From all the things that no longer serve you, and that you will come into a place where you can live your life organically. There's just, and once you purpose to do that and add meaning to your life, it is so relaxed. Yesterday I before my husband left to the office, I said, I'm going to take a little nap and so forth. And he kissed me and he said, let me know when you're up or whatever. And so I was there, and all week I'd been thinking, oh, I could have some calamari, so and so. So you know what I did? I said, you know what? I'm gonna treat, this is gonna be a Cynthia day today. That was yesterday. And so I got dressed up, and I went to Legacy West, and I went to a nice restaurant by myself. Now I could have called a few friends, or a friend, and say, look, let's meet and whatever. No, but I thought, this is going to be a Cynthia day. So I went to a restaurant, and I knew what I wanted. I wanted the calamari dish, fried calamari. They make it so good there. And then they had the truffle garlic bread. Oh, that is delicious. And so I went there and, walked in and I said, I'm not sure if I want to sit outside or inside, whatever. And she said, well, then I said, well, I'll sit over there by the high table and so forth. So I sat there by myself. And she came, can I get you something to drink? I said, you know what? And I had a glass of wine. I thought, give me a glass of Cabernet Sauvignon. And she's like, 6 ounces or 9 ounces? I'm like, 6 ounces is fine. I was by myself. And, anyway, so, and I sat there and I had my glass of wine. And my husband didn't know that I had gone there. So when they brought my, the calamari and the the garlic bread, that's what I wanted. I took a picture and whatever, and I sent it to him. And I said, I am doing a solo dine today. And so he calls me. He calls me, and I'm sitting there by myself. And he calls me, and he said, he said, how does it feel sitting in a restaurant without your husband? I said, well, it feels kind of strange because, when we're together, we can share and talk and so forth. And, I'm by myself. But at the same time, I'm doing some research. I have my phone and I'm looking up some things and I'm just good. And so he goes, should I be concerned about something? I'm like, concerned. He's like, I'm like, no. I said, no, I'm fine. And anyway, we just had some funny things to share because I was sending him some texts and so forth. And he said, and I said, well, I'm going to bring home some of that truffle garlic bread. It's loaded with cheese. And anyway, I just wanted to do something different for myself. And that was my day yesterday. I did that for me. I wanted to have a special day for me, and it worked out perfect. Going back to Gladys, let me tell you, Gladys is happy. She made a decision and decided to do what was in her heart, and went along with Phil. And I don't we're not like close friends, but the point is they're fine. She made a decision. She took a chance on herself. How will it turn out? It doesn't matter. If she's happy now in the moment, you've got to live in the moment because this is what you have. This is what you have. So she is happy. I'm telling you, my friend, take a chance. Take a chance on yourself. Bet on yourself because the universe bets on you every day. And trust yourself. Trust yourself that you are capable of living life on your own terms, following your intuition, learning your truth, and be able to think critically, analyze, and process things and information so that you can make your life meaningful. Take a chance on yourself. I'm going to leave you with that, my friend. Take a chance on yourself. Now, every Thursday, we meet here, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you can't meet me here, then you see the icons down here, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You can pick up the show 24/7 here and watch it. For those of you that are constant every week watching the show, thank you. Well, those of you, I know there are a lot of people that watch the show, but they're still incognito because they're still going through this deconstruction, and it's really tough to come out. It's tough to come out and be bold and to let other people know that this is where you're at and so forth. So don't put any pressure on yourself. Just make sure that you are enjoying life right now. In the meantime, I will see you next week, same time, same place at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you need to drop me a note, look at the info on the bottom. It says info@thecynthialinoxshow.com, and I will address whatever questions you may have or respond to you personally. In the meantime, Next week, next week, same time, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here. Have a fantastic weekend, amigos, and I will see you again. Ciao, and have a good weekend. Hasta, au revoir.